a really blunt question for any of you. I mean, do you think, looking 2 years from now, 3 years from now, that there'll be any advertising on tablets that won't move? I mean, does this push the impetus towards non-static advertising, just because of the nature of the device? And Dany, you kind of indicated that kind of the drive for you was, oh, I can combine the best of television with all these other things. But I'm wondering, from an advertising experience, does this mean the real death of the classic banner, in the sense that you just can't afford to have anything static anymore?
I mean, I think that the iPad and tablet media has upped the ante. I think that, yes, potentially, I mean, it's hard to gaze into your crystal ball and know if 2 years from now there will be static advertisements on the iPad. I think if there are, it's sort of a shame, because there is so much more possibility of sort of what you can do and the way you can have fun with the user and play with the user, versus just presenting them or being intrusive. I think gone are the days where users are willing to sit through intrusive advertising. That it's a whole new world.
But but it also makes me wonder. I mean, one of the questions of the day really has been the question of, it's like the David Letterman thing: will it float? The question here is, will it scale? We've been hearing today conversation at the Federated Media Summit yesterday and the day before about the proliferation of custom advertising units, of customized creative, of sponsorships. And you all know, because you're running a business, that builds limits into how far you can grow the business. That in media businesses, scale comes from some form of standardization. So do you worry about that? Where do you think you go? Or do you think that you'll end up being like a really great... No, I'm not going to go there. What I want to ask is how do you deal with the tension between building a great customized environment and the economics that come along with scale and standards?
Well, it's one of these questions that not only we face, but I think everyone interested in the tablet ultimately faces, because this isn't just about punch, right? It's about the whole experience on the tablet. And I think I've thought about this, and inevitably there'll become some kind of standard that has to emerge for how you create marketing messages on tablets. I think we can't really create them until we've experimented with doing different ones to understand what the archetypes might be. And I do agree with you that this element of motion is part of it. But here's the challenge with the tablet. The screen sizes are all different. They're going to continue to be different forever. I don't see them standardizing into one screen size. It's just not going to happen. And what happened with banners, as we know, is we set kind of defined sizes for those, and that sort of made sense perhaps in the context of a web page. You can't really do that if you want to take over the whole screen on the tablet and the screen sizes are always changing. How do you create a standard unit that does that? And that has nothing to do with punch at that point. That has to do with all the Galaxy this and the iPad that. And I think the answer partly is it's going to be about the APIs, or essentially the layer that we have to be compliant as a publisher, this is down the road, with certain kinds of information being sent into my app.
Right.
And that information might be a video stream and instructions on how to overlay buttons, and then, of course, the asset of those buttons. But I will have to render the artwork in my app according to those instructions.
Right.
The recipe is sent to me. And there's some conditional statements that say, if your screen size is like this, then build it like that, essentially. And it becomes a liquid, sometimes use this phrase, liquid design. It's flexible that way. Those APIs have to be defined so that publishers are all using the same ones, and then presumably marketers will know, oh, my marketing, my ad unit, whatever it might be, will crosstalk or speak to everything. So it's really an API standards as much as it is
right.
anything else.
But from that standpoint, you think needs time to shake out and kind of see what the creative process kind of gives us.
I would give it a couple of years just to actually create these ad units and see what they are. We all have to try to do this and create really great ones that move people emotionally. Sometimes the opportunity I see on the iPad is you can create the emotion you see in the best of television advertising and in print, magazines in particular, on a digital machine, which almost never happens in a banner ad. And so it's kind of very exciting that you can create that level of emotion, but also be transactional. So we need to give it some time. Creative departments, agencies need to really experiment with this. We have to find out what messages really work well, and then I think you can build your standards once you know we want to encourage this kind of success to continue.